Well, hello. Thank you for joining me today as we talk about one of Viking's most popular river cruises, the Rhine Getaway. This goes through 4 countries, Amsterdam to Basel or the reverse, and has some beautiful vineyards and castles. It is just a fabulous choice. If you've never taken a river cruise before, this is a wonderful place to start. And we're going to talk today about how to choose the best river cruise at the best price without having to thumb through catalogs or search the internet or call some random people at an 800 number. We want to give you all the tools you need to make the best decision for your vacation choices. And who is a river cruise going to be for? This is someone that's interested in art, history, culture, enjoys educational activities, culturally enriching experiences, and traveling with other travelers who are like-minded. There are no children under 18 on our cruises. They're very rich and engaging and educational and just so much fun. So who they're not for is those that like SEA days versus SEE days. We are actually sailing overnight most of the time, and we're in port during the day. So if you're looking for a relaxing cruise and just sailing, then we have some cross-continental cruises that might be good on our ocean ships that we can talk about. But river cruises are going to be pretty active. And of course, we want you to get the most out of every stop that we get to visit. I'm going to turn my camera off so you can see these great images, but this is quintessential river cruising. So if you imagine this as your next vacation, I hope you have a lovely day like this, enjoying Viking's beautiful ships and the patented bow at the front of the ship. You can see people are enjoying having scenic views, maybe some coffee or tea. You can go there early for breakfast if you'd like, or evening and watch the stars. But it's a wonderful way to enjoy the outdoors and see these beautiful cities as you sail. So these were the highways of the old world, right? So the towns are built up all along the side of the river. And so there's really not a bad view regardless of where you are. And of course, you can see on this ship, the top deck, you've got 360-degree views there. There's a walking track up there, a little putting green, a little herb garden, plenty of places to sit and relax, both shaded and out in the open. And so it's a lovely way to enjoy a relaxing journey along the Rhine River in this case, but also the Danube is part of our offerings as well. So today we're going to talk about this itinerary, but one thing that I like to say is that at the end of the day, it's all about having a really great experience that you can treasure. This is a personal testimony from one of my clients. She had never done a river cruise before and was a little afraid of the water. So we talked about how there is no rocking motion on the rivers. They're unlike on a sea cruise, and they decided to go. And on her way back, she told her husband, this was one of the best vacations of our lives. Her husband passed away about 2 years later. They did get 2 Viking cruises in. So she has those great memories, which I'm so thrilled about because it really is a treasure that they have together. And I know it was just a wonderful experience both then and as she gets to relive that every year of places they got to visit. So the Rhine Getaway, as you can see here, 8 days, 6 guided tours in 4 countries. You can go either direction. I usually say start in the city you want to spend the most time in. If you've not been to Amsterdam, we'll talk a little bit about the treasure that Amsterdam is and all the different things you can see there. But Switzerland has its own charm. It's a lovely little city that you will enjoy as well. But we'll be going through each of these cities, telling you what you're going to see. And then with Viking, you get an included tour in each port of call. So that is one of the things that I love about Viking is that you're not on your own trying to figure things out. Now here's a map of the itinerary, Amsterdam to Basel. As you can tell, the white circles, that means either a late night embarkation or disembarkation or an overnight. In this case, it is going to be late night departure from Amsterdam, and you will overnight in Basel, but then you're flying out the next day. So not really like you're going to see much of that. I really encourage you, and we'll talk about options at the end of the presentation about extensions. I love having clients when they can do the extension because not only does it help you acclimate to the time change, gives you time to see these cities that you would like to maybe spend more time in, and you've flown all that way, so take advantage of it. And also you have the opportunity to get to know other Viking guests and make some relationships there and just relax and see the city in a more time expansive way. Now we're going to start in Amsterdam. As you can see here, these charming houses. This is so picturesque. I love the postcards that I've brought back with these houses on there because they're right there along the canal. The interesting thing about these homes are the Dutch being very frugal were taxed on the footprint of the house, not on the height. And so they made them tall and narrow. And you'll notice these little protrusions at the top of the houses. Those were actually to help bring the goods or services or funeral furniture up to the upper levels in each of level of the house, because for instance, if the store was on the base level, then the goods needed to be on the upper levels. And of course, the family lived above that. So it's just charming how these homes are right there along the canal, and just learning about the history in the old part of Amsterdam is just very fun. But you'll also notice all the canals. So a great way to see the city is just to walk. I love doing walking and seeing a city kind of on my own terms. We dock right at the heart of the city, so it's not a long walk to get into the center of town. You can certainly do that on your own. And there's just so much to see here. We've got more museums per square mile than any other place on earth. And so you've got the Anne Frank House, you've got the Rijksmuseum with all those Dutch masters, you've got the Van Gogh Museum, the Diamond Museum, and you've got all the beautiful canals and floating flower markets. I really recommend a canal cruise. It is such a wonderful way to see the city, and you'll see the arches on that bridge. They're all lit up. So at dusk, it's just a magical way to explore Amsterdam. So spend some extra time here if you can. If you can't do that, then schedule your flight. You can do that with AirPlus, which is $50 per person, and it allows you to choose your carrier, your schedule, customize your flight a bit. And I like to get into a city as early as possible. If I'm flying all night, I want to get there early. I try to get on local time right away. And I use that time to stay active and see the city. And that's a wonderful way to stay alert and then try to get on local time, get to bed early that night. So this is a great way to do that with that AirPlus. We always recommend guests do that. Gives you a little bit more control over your schedule. Now, if you are there in the early part of the year, mid-March to mid-May, you may have the chance to see the amazing Keukenhof Gardens. Such an incredible place. It is known to be the largest exporter of flowering bulbs in the world. You can see this either on our tulips and windmills sailing, which is 10 days round trip Amsterdam. And I've done that one, and it's a lovely, lovely itinerary. And we actually have an included excursion to Keukenhof. But you can see it on those other sailings on the Rhine Getaway or the Grand European. You would need to go in early to do that, but it is a stunning display of the most amazing combination of arrangements. The different they do different shapes, windmills, etc., made out of these flowering bulbs, and it's just a lovely place to walk around. Really encourage you, if you love gardening or flowers, I would recommend going to Keukenhof during the spring for sure. Of course, the Anne Frank House, very popular. We recommend getting those tickets early, book them online. You can do so about 60 days prior to your arrival. Otherwise, the lines are going to be very long once you get there, but that's very popular to do. And of course, Amsterdam is known for all the bicycles, and there are more bicycles here than cars, many times more than cars, and they have the right of way. So definitely watch out when you're crossing the street or walking around. If you like to cycle yourself, probably recommend doing it in some of the other cities, because these cyclists are very serious. They have the right of way, and if you don't know what you're doing, it will be a little intimidating. So I recommend watching out for the bicycles. It is stunning the number of bicycles that are parking garages that we would see here in the United States that have lots and lots of cars. There seems to be 100,000 bicycles all crammed into the similar parking spaces there, and it's really amazing. But they get around, and basically, even from a young age, the kids are cycling to school and back, and that is their mode of transportation to a large degree. Our next day is going to be the magical town of Kinderdijk. And here there are more windmills that are the traditional windmills than any other place in the Netherlands. And so you'll get a chance to see those. They are lovely. There are two of them are museums that you actually get to tour those, go up inside the windmills, see how they operate, see how the living quarters are built in this circular fashion around this pole that goes down the center that is continuously turning. And the Dutch actually can live here for free, provided they operate, maintain, and restore these beautiful windmills. I would recommend definitely taking the time to explore. There's a museum here that you'll learn a little bit about the history of how the important role that the windmills played. The Dutch say God made the world, but the Hollanders actually reclaimed the sea and created Holland. So it's very, very interesting day. It's a lovely walk here, great place for photography. And that is going to be your included tour to get to see these windmills and learn a bit about it. But there's an optional tour that you can do here. And this is a good time to pause and talk about Viking's tour options. So we have what's called the Viking Way. You have your included tour in every port of call, but then you have optional excursions that are into three categories. You have local life, working world, and privileged access. So local life is, of course, how people live and what their traditions are. And you get a chance sometimes to go into home visits and share pastry or coffee and learn about their traditions and their daily life. Working world, of course, is going to be how they make their living. And then privileged access is those great relationships that Viking has developed and maintained over the years. This is their 25th year of doing business. And so they have great relationships in these countries that allow them to create these special experiences for our guests. Now, one of those is here in Kinderdijk, and there's a 125-year-old barge that has been restored, and you have the opportunity to get on this barge and go to a separate mill that is going to have a family that runs it, and they're going to tell you about their daily life. You'll get to see the gardens and the kitchens and how they make a living basically here. And then, of course, getting a chance to have that privileged access on this restored barge is really a fun way to spend your time in Kinderdijk. Another really popular option is Dutch cheese making, and you'll go to a farm and you'll see how they actually create these cheeses that are so popular here and learn how they make it. You'll be able to buy some and bring it home. And that is a very, very popular option as well. Our next day is going to be to go to Cologne, Germany. And this in the foreground, you'll see that Dom Cathedral. It's a Gothic cathedral started back in the 13th century. It took over 700 years to build. And surprisingly, it escaped damage from the World War II air raids because the pilots would use that as basically a beacon as to where they would divert as they were getting into Germany and where they would actually make their bombings in different cities. So this actually escaped a lot of damage, though the rest of the city did experience that. It's also a city that's built on Roman ruins. So there are continuous excavations going on. In fact, the Dom Cathedral itself is under continuous renovation due to its age and the things that they're finding there. One of our privileged access options here is called Top of Cologne, and you're able to take a excavation elevator up the side of the cathedral, and actually it'll take you up into the roof. You'll be able to have some incredible views below of the cathedral itself, but then it actually takes you onto the roof where you have some great views of the city. You'll be able to talk with a restoration architect about how they are in continuous work to restore the cathedral, and it's a really special opportunity. Of course, if you're afraid of heights, wouldn't recommend this one, but it's very popular. Another really popular one is the beer culture tour. So basically you have a pub crawl in the evening. Cologne is famous for its Kolsch beer, and it's a small glass with low effervescence, and you're able to learn about the history and the beer culture there, try some different foods, and of course, the Kolschbier is very famous here. They will keep refilling your glass, and it's easy to overindulge. So just put your coaster on the top when you're done and enjoy an evening. We don't sail out until late that day. So there's a lot of exploring to do here in Cologne, great shopping, an opportunity to explore some other museums. There's a chocolate museum here. There is also the Eau de Cologne, the Fragrance Museum, which is the birthplace for perfume, which is over 220 years old. The 4711 House of Fragrances is still in operation. You're able to tour that as a museum and learn about the history of that fragrance, which is actually still available today. Our next stop, day 4, is Koblenz, and we have a couple great opportunities here. This is a 2,000-year-old city in itself. It is in the Rhine Gorge, where the Rhine and the Moselle rivers meet. And this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site here. It has a really famous riverside walkway. It's got a Middle Rhine museum that you can tour. What you're seeing here is the trams going back and forth to the Ehrenbreitstein Fortress, which is a very pivotal point right there on the Rhine and the Moselle rivers, where they merge here. And you can see from here the great views that you have of the city. You'll get a tour here, but what I recommend, if you have the ability and mobility, would recommend Marksburg Castle. It is an incredible castle, over 700 years old. It's never destroyed in the war, so it's much of it has been restored over the years, but retains its original character. It's got a kitchen large enough to cook a whole cow. You'll see the ballroom and the dungeons and the torture equipment. There is a knight collection, the Gimbal collection, which shows the armory through the ages. And of course, just learning about the history of medieval life is very, very interesting. The views are incredible. Just driving up to Marksburg Castle is a treat in and of itself. I would recommend, though, if you have mobility issues, there's no elevators here and the stairs can be steep or a little uneven. So recommend do Ehrenbreitstein if that is an issue, but certainly explore the Marksburg Castle if you can. The Middle Rhine is one of the most scenic stretches of the river. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site in and of itself. There are just dozens of castles and fortresses from the Middle Ages. And we also have the famous Lorelei Rock here, which you'll see at the narrow point of the river. But it is just a beautiful afternoon of scenic sailing. So while you're on the ship, you'll be able to be in the lounge or up on the sun deck or in the Aquavit Terrace. Your program director will be telling you the history of these castles as you sail by, which is just so fascinating. And usually the chef will do something in the lounge area, maybe do an apple strudel and show you how to make that and enjoy some tea or coffee and apple strudel, which is fun. And it's a lovely day on the river. It's just our guest favorite. It's one of my personal favorites. A tip I will share is I take so many photos when I travel that when I get back, I have like 1,100 and I've never figured out, it's hard with all these castles to remember which was what. So take pictures of the little mile markers as you're sailing along. They will give you a map of the castles that they will be talking about, and it really helps later determine which castles are which when you're trying to review your photos. Our next stop is Speyer, and Speyer, Germany, excuse me, has a really wonderful cathedral here. It is a Romanesque cathedral. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site in its own right. 8 holy Roman emperors are buried here. There's also a very fascinating Jewish cultural center as well. That dates back from the 11th century. There are ruins here of a synagogue. We got to tour a mikveh bath, which was amazing to learn about that tradition that they would do and how far it went down. We were there in December and it was like, wow, this is amazing that they would be so committed to their beliefs that they would be getting in this cold well water regardless of the time of the year. It was very fascinating to learn about that. We were here in Speyer on Paris to the Swiss Alps cruise and enjoyed Speyer, but then we were also able to take the afternoon and go to Heidelberg. You can do this as an optional tour on the Rhine Getaway. I highly recommend it. The castle there in the background is just fascinating. It's got incredible views of the Neckar River, which you see in the foreground here. If you're going at Christmas time, it's got an amazing Christmas market that's about a mile long, and all these vendors are out there in the streets, and they're roasted chestnuts and incredible street food and all the different things you can purchase for a Christmas market is a wonderful way to spend the afternoon or evening. So take advantage of that from either Speyer, or if you're doing Paris to the Swiss Alps, you'll have a little more time there as well. Then we're going to have time in Rudesheim, and this is a wonderful little town. No cars are allowed, so it's a very quaint town with these half-timbered houses, and you can have dinner here, which is an optional excursion, and explore this town. Rudesheimer coffee is very famous, especially in the colder weather, and you will enjoy shopping and just touring this quaint little city. It's a wonderful second city that we get to see on this cruise. And then we go to Strasbourg, and famous for so many things. It went from between France and Germany many times back and forth. Our guide actually told us her family history between her great grandparents and her, it had gone back and forth 5 times. And so the stories she told us about that were amazing. Now, Strasbourg is also known as a historic city center. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site on its own. It has the Palais of Europe, which is where the European Parliament meets. It's got a wonderful little old town that has a cathedral square and a customs house, some really scenic bridges, as you can see here as well. And it's just a wonderful place to spend the afternoon and get some great food. You definitely want to take the Taste of Alsace, which is a very popular tour here, and enjoy this city because the food is amazing. When we were here for Christmas markets, the guide told us the chandeliers that were hanging in the streets were 30,000 euros each, and it's just an impressive city at Christmas time. So definitely you will love Strasbourg at Christmas if you enjoy a great Christmas market stop. Then we're going to go to Breisach, and this is the fortress town from the Middle Ages. It's known for its sparkling wines. The Black Forest region is known for its cuckoo clocks. It's also known for cherry schnapps and Black Forest cake. And the one thing about Breisach is there's not enough time to do everything. So choose what you would like. The drive into the Black Forest is beautiful. And then of course you get a chance to look at these different options and learn about different parts of these crafts between either the winery or the olive oil or the cuckoo clocks or making Black Forest cake. It's a beautiful day in Breisach. Then our last stop on this sailing is Basel, and Basel is a charming town. We dock between Great Basel, which is the historic region, and Little Basel, which is more the modern region. It has 6 bridges that connect it, and it's Switzerland's 3rd largest city. It is a charming little town. It has some really beautiful buildings, a nice town square. This is the courthouse, and getting a chance to see this and the beautiful colors. They've got some great markets here if you're here at Christmas time as well. And then I would encourage you, if you can, extend your stay because you're really going to enjoy getting a chance to go to Lucerne. Really recommend that. That is such a wonderful extension. Get to see Basel and then go to Lucerne for 2 nights. But our extensions that we offer are 2 nights in Amsterdam, or 2 nights that include The Hague and Amsterdam if you want to learn about the history, the cultural center there, the seat of power. Basically, it has some incredible works of art in The Hague. And then, of course, you can do Basel for 2 nights, but then Lucerne for 2 nights. So really encourage you to see Lucerne. It's just got this beautiful chapel bridge there. Incredible opportunity to go to the Swiss Alps. We took a gondola ride up to the top of Mount Pilatus. You can do a scenic cruise on Lake Lucerne. It's just not to be missed. It is such a fabulous city. So encourage you to do that. And then we have other options. Alpine Backdrops of Lucerne is a very, very popular extension. It is a fully guided tour with 3 nights. It is only available on certain sailings. So you will need to book your cruise around when Alpine Backdrops of Lucerne is available versus pick the cruise and then add that extension because it's not available everywhere. That is the same with Great Homes, Gardens, and Janet as well. So much here, 4 nights. You're going to get to explore Highclere Castle, which is the home of Downton Abbey. And this is privileged access because the chairman and his family have a relationship with Lord and Lady Carnarvon of Highclere Castle. And so not only do you get to see that, you get to see some of the other castles like Broughton Castle as well, and Highgrove House, which is home of Charles, the Prince of Wales. So great options. These 2 are unique and have certain dates. So we will have to look what sailings are available around these extensions should you choose to go there. Now, this is a sailing that I referenced, which covers most of what we talked about today. You can see here, you can start either in Paris or Zurich. We do 2-night hotel stay there. And then we transfer to Trier, which is on the Moselle River. The Moselle River is just such a lovely river. Really encourage you to do that if you can. We only have 2 sailings that do that. This one and the City of Lights. So Paris to the Swiss Alps and Cities of Light will do the 8 days on the river, 2 days on either end. This is Paris and Zurich. Cities of Light is Paris and Prague. And then we have Viking Shores and Fjords. This is a fun option if you want to combine river and ocean. We could do Basel to Amsterdam and then Amsterdam to Bergen on the ocean cruises, or we can do it the reverse, Bergen to Amsterdam, and then take the Rhine from Amsterdam down to Basel. Now, even though often you'll see on the website they are sold out because there's only a few sailings that they actually market this for, we can create this itinerary. It's called a butterfly. We can do that together for you if those dates or if it's sold out on the website. And then, of course, the Grand European Tour is going to take in most of what we saw today. It veers off here in Koblenz and does the Middle Rhine, sailing all the way down to Budapest where we do overnight. So this is a great itinerary. If I was just telling you how to craft seeing European rivers, I would say take the Rhine Getaway and take Paris to the Swiss Alps because that gives you everything in 2 sailings. You get to see the rest of the Rhine here, and then you also get to see the Moselle, and that's the perfect combination without overlapping. Now, why would you use Imagine Going There Travel? Well, we've got the insider connections. We've got great advice. We've got extra bonuses that we're going to be able to give you. For instance, one of the things you'll get to have with just because you've taken the time to watch this seminar and learn more about Viking cruises is you're going to get 200 shipboard credit for bookings that are made within 14 days of watching this webinar. And it is a partnership that Viking gives us because we are one of Viking's largest sellers. And because of that, they know we're educating our clients. If you have a great experience, you're going to come back to Viking. And we love helping our clients get the most out of their Viking experience. So we also know the codes that will give you the best discounts. So if you don't know those when you call into Viking directly, they can't offer that for you. They can't volunteer it. So we're able to help you really maximize your Viking experience. Viking pays us to help you, so our services are free. We have basically a whole team of people in place that are here to just help you make the most of your vacation, take all the questions out, a direct phone number to call. And of course, we're here to make sure that everything goes seamlessly as it should and as it will, because we're watching out for you. Now, if you've never taken a river cruise, I want to do a quick little overview. Why would you choose a river cruise? Well, to start with, it's very relaxing and comfortable. Your hotel is going to float with you. It's a great alternative to those land tours with no packing and unpacking. Every river is different. And the great thing about Viking is they have purchased most of the docking locations in Europe. So we've got prime docking locations and we're docking in the heart of the city. And we have that extended port time that allows you to stay and really explore. And with Viking's inclusive value, you get a short excursion every port of call. You have your onboard meals. You have multiple dining venues, no extra charge for that. You've got your wine, beer, and soft drinks included with your meals. You have specialty teas and coffees. I love having bottled water and not having to pay $3.50 for a bottle of water. They will have it in your stateroom as well as when you leave the ship, they'll give you water to take with you, which is a wonderful extra. You have free internet Wi-Fi, which allows you to stay connected. And we've got amazing first-class hotels. So if you choose to do a pre or post stay, know that you're going to be staying in first-class hotels that are centrally located, that our guests really enjoy as well. Also, a thing that is important is that when you choose a Viking cruise, your cruise fare also includes all your port charges, government taxes, and fees. So when we send you a quote, it's not with an embarkation price with a lot of surprises. And when you get on the ship, you're not going to disembark with a lot of surprises either. Everything is included. In fact, the only extras you can really purchase are optional excursions, gratuities, which are not included, and you can add those either before your cruise or once you get there. The Silver Spirits beverage package, if you need more than just the included wine, beer, and soft drinks with your meals, it's about 20 per person per day, and it does include gratuities and items from the gift shop. So that's pretty much all you can purchase. It's a wonderful way to not have to feel like you have to brace yourself for the last day of the cruise and wondering what that bill is going to be before you can disembark. So I love that about Viking. I also wanted to mention, for those of you that are traveling and enjoy trying different, for instance, craft beers or certain types of wine, and visit these wineries, you are able to bring those back on board the ship without having to do any sneaky or tricks or anything. The bartender at the bar will open that for you, or you could have it at your dining table. The waiter will open your beverage for you, and you can have it with dinner. There's a refrigerator in your room, so you can, of course, have it at any time that you choose. And it's a wonderful way to just be able to relax and know that Viking isn't trying to nickel and dime you every time you turn around. Speaking of dining, we are happy to have you have the destination-focused dining that allows you to really enjoy the flavors of the city that you're sailing through. We have amazing dining options that are regional, but we also have that American fare as well. So you're able to have that taste of event in addition to the type of regional cuisine. And so on the left side of the menu will be your American classics. On the right side will be the regional specialties. And so you'll be able to enjoy that, but you never have to worry about any kind of fancy dressing. You're always going to be able to have the ability to relax, just like you would go to a friend's house for dinner. We talked about the Viking way with the different options. And of course, every itinerary has it focused to bring out the best of the cities that we're sailing through. And then if you want tips to the best time to travel, would say May and September are going to be the most popular. So you'll see the prices rise a little bit there. You'll have the least expensive or the fewest crowds mid-March to the first week of April, or late October to mid-November. And that is in exclusion of tulips and windmills, when that is actually peak time. Last 2 weeks of April is the peak time there. If you want the best time of year to travel, a good value, but really growing in popularity, are the Christmas markets. And I feel like you're getting two cruises in one. You get the reduced cruise fare for being colder time of year, but you're also celebrating it as the locals do, where you're getting out and enjoying the great food and the great handcrafts that are there. But also, this is when the lights come on. It gets dark in Europe in late fall and of course early spring as well. But at Christmas markets, you have almost an additional attraction because you have these beautiful scenic sailings that you are enjoying just like every other time of year. But when you go to the cities at night, you've got this incredible view that you're getting of the lights and the food. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful time to travel. When you are traveling on the cooler season, I would just suggest do layers. Lots of thin ones are better than heavy items because you're going in and out of museums. You don't want to be carrying heavy parkas or have like heavy sweaters that are weighing you down. You can take a backpack and just put your scarf or hat. Now, layers on and off. You're not that far from the ship, so it's easy to get back. And you're also getting a lot of exercise, which kind of keeps you warm. One of the tips I suggest is to go ahead and purchase a scarf or hat from the city you're visiting in, because it's kind of a nice souvenir and it also serves to keep you nice and warm as well. Now, I want to give you some tips on choosing the right stateroom. This is the beautiful Viking Longship, which is a state-of-the-art award-winning ship. It's not longer than any other ship out there. It's a tribute to the Viking heritage. But what I like to point out is of the stateroom categories, there's really only 3 other than the suites that you can choose from. So all the verandas, which are the step out balconies, are on the right side, the starboard side. This is veranda A and this is veranda B. On the opposite side are the French balconies, those where you can lean out but not step out. And that's French balcony C and D. And then down at the bottom are your standard staterooms, and they have the high fixed window. Notice this lovely aquavit terrace that I was talking about. Here's the sun deck, and you've got shade, you've got lounge chairs where you can sit out and enjoy the sun, beautiful weather. Walking tracks are there as well. And then we have our 2 Explorer suites on the back, and the veranda suites are on the top deck. And that's like a combination of a French balcony and a veranda together. So great options, but not complicated. And I love that about Viking. They're all the fleet across the fleet of their river ships. They're all the same. So it's once you know one European river ship, you will know all of them. This is the standard stateroom, 150 square feet. You can see that high fixed window, and I am 5'7". So that window comes about to my chin, and it's got that shelf area there. The size of this 150 square feet is about the same as this because that square footage is up there on that shelf. But you can see the wall of windows, basically. That door slides open so you can enjoy some fresh air and lean out, just can't step out and sit there. But the veranda allows you to sit outside and really enjoy the beautiful weather. Sailing in to a city in the morning when it's quiet is just magical. I've taken some great videos of that I still just enjoy looking back on my trips. But in actuality, you're in your room pretty much for sleeping, showering, and changing, except for the mornings or the evenings. Though I do love coming back in the afternoon, getting away from the crowds, just maybe doing some postcards or something and enjoying the great scenery as we sail too. The veranda suite, as I mentioned, is 2 rooms. You have a door that closes off between the 2 rooms, and you have the French balcony in the bedroom, the step out balcony here, as you can see that couple there. It also comes with some extra, like earlier access to your stateroom, alcohol in your refrigerator, you get Air Plus included, and just some extras that are part of the experience, as well as lots of extra space, as you can see. And the bathrooms are wonderful. The one thing I love about the bathrooms that all of them have heated floors. So if you want to go on a Christmas market, like I mentioned, it's so nice to have that warmth in the middle of the night. And it's just a really welcoming way to get ready in the morning, on a cool morning, especially. And then we have the Explorer's Suite. These are beautiful, great way to just splurge and enjoy yourself. There's a 270-degree balcony. So you get this incredible view as you sail, and you get lots of extras like Silver Spirits beverage packages included, and private transfers, and then laundry and dry cleaner included with your experience. So it's a wonderful way to enjoy your sailing and celebrate with some really amazing treatment. And now we're going to just talk about why you would want Imagine Going There Travel to help with your trip. And we did talk about that a bit, saying that we have the ability to really just know these cruises like the back of our hand. We're able to tell you the pros and cons of different sailings, different dates, what specials are available. We really want you to have the memories that our guests have and have told us, the staff, the excursions, the food. I just wanted to hug everyone before we left. That's what the Viking experience is like. And we like to say our motto is great vacations matter because great memories matter the most. We're here to help make the most of those vacation memories. So feel free to give us a call. We're here to help and get the best value for your vacation dollar. Thank you so much.